Okay. How's it going, y'all? I'm going to start this new thing that I wanted to do, which is basically a study sesh. I keep buying how to draw books because I always am trying to improve, and I got this really awesome Morpho simplified forms book. I've kind of sectioned it off into like 4 chapters, and I'm going to go through it basically every day for the next, I think about like 5 or 10 days, just to try to get myself back familiar with, just give myself a little anatomy refresh, because I feel like my anatomy, I feel like every like once a year I just need like a nice little like refresher of that. So follow along with me if you want. Like, you can go grab this book. I got mine at Blick for about I think it was about $18. But the Morpho series is really awesome. They do really cool, simple breakdowns of things that you're trying to learn. So yeah, I'm gonna go through it. You guys can follow along, and yeah. I guess you don't need to see my face at the same time, right? Yeah, that's so much better. Okay. Cool. So again, I'm just gonna be drawing and just kind of like reading what I'm seeing. I've been meaning to do something like this for forever, because it's so easy to just buy a how to draw book and then just like never do anything with it. So I figured I'll just record it. I'll just record myself doing it. Okay, so this is the page actually we can start on. So I'm starting on page 10. And I'm basically just going to draw basically everything that I see. Because like I just kind of like have been not like winging it necessarily with my anatomy, but just like, you get to a point where like you feel pretty good with your anatomy and you can kind of get through some drawings, but I've just kind of noticed some holes in my anatomy that I would like to fix. And this book's really cool. It's like simplified anatomy, which is basically what I want. So it says, starting from the torso, we find the arm muscles that are responsible. Starting from the torso, we find the arm muscles that are responsible for lowering the pectoral muscles and the united teres major and latimus dorsi muscles 1 and 2, which is, let's go ahead and draw that. I think as we go along, I'll probably kind of figure out methods of like how to study better. But I think the main thing is just like, I don't think I'm gonna try to get super duper accurate with my drawings. Like I don't know if I want to make them as like the same as basically what I'm seeing in the book. So 1 and 2. So this is a lat, and then this is a united teres. But yeah, I've just kind of like always grabbed these how to draw books, and then you start working through them. I don't know about you guys, but I usually get about 3 days in, and then by like the 3rd day, I'm either just feeling super duper confident, and I'm like, I don't need to be studying this every single day. Like, I'm good, I can take a break. And then I like never open the book again for like a year. Let's see. Figure number 1 right here is associated with these muscles are the scapular belt, which is made up of the shoulder blades and the clavicles. Our simplification must include the drawing of these bones because they follow all the movements of the arm and create major changes in shape. The shoulder blades are essential to the drawing of this area. They are 2 triangular plates that function as relay platforms for the muscles of the upper limb. These plates slide and pivot on the rib cage and follow all of the movements of the arm. Thus, they tilt to point upward when the arm is raised. We will concentrate here on the bracket created by the shoulder blades rather than detailing the muscles that cover them. For those muscles, we will simply use their outline, which connects the rib cage to the arm. These muscles form the rear wall of the armpit and can be seen more clearly when the arm is raised. The deltoids, number 3, which is right here, and trapezius muscle 4, your traps, will be indicated by their outlines. At the shoulder, the trapezius is connected to the neck and the deltoid to the arm. We find that the clavicle is more interesting in views from above because it emphasizes the roundedness of the ribcage. In those cases, we will draw it, but most often it will disappear within the more important shape of the pectoral, which takes up the front walls of the armpit. The muscles that connect the rib cage to the pelvis create a uniform whole, connected by the fat that is often thicker in front and on the sides. These are the abdominals, rectus abdominals number 5, let's see right here, and the obliques number 6, which is right here, to which one can add the spinal muscles that run along the spinal column. This is the other thing I like about this book, is that you can kind of read this. Everything that you need to read is all on one page. So, okay. Let's get in here and copy some of these drawings. So again, I've never really recorded myself studying, so this is probably going to be rocky, but I hope that it's good for me, and then I hope it's really good for people that maybe want to watch this and maybe follow along, so that you're not alone when you're studying. Because when you're alone when you're studying, it can get it's very easy to just kind of give up. So these are obliques, I believe, right? Number 5 is the abs, of course. And I think I'm going to try to get these as close as I possibly can. This thing right here always trips me up. And I've been drawing for so long, and I still always make this section. I feel like I never make this section long enough. So I'm gonna really try to be conscious of that. Good. So if you see me doing this, I'm trying to just kind of get that line of action in there so that I'm not just drawing down and then I'm, you know, I'm still trying to keep in mind this construction that I'm doing when I'm drawing this little guy here. Because you don't want to get caught up in just like trying to just draw a drawing. You know, I think like the whole point of this book is the whole point of this book is to really focus on like construction first and making sure that your construction is very, very strong. Okay. So now I've got that construction in there. I'm gonna kind of lighten it up a little bit so I can get in there and get detailed now. And again, like just kind of focusing on like, I'm not really trying to make a bunch of pretty drawings necessarily, but trying to kind of understand trying to basically understand for the most part like everything that the book is kind of telling me to do. And what's cool, it's like I don't really have to like kind of doing that like that construction first and then kind of looking at the drawing. It's kind of easier to shit, see? This muscle here is way higher. Okay, so I gotta remember that. So this muscle's like here and then here. Yeah. Tight. And then there's little oblique muscles here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and shade it in just kind of how I see it. Again, I'm not really trying to match exactly what I'm seeing. Cool. Alright. I still got enough room, so maybe we'll, because I don't really like to waste. So maybe we'll just do the construction down here. We'll get a couple practice rounds in real quick. But I don't think I'm actually going to be able to fit. But I'll just do it really small. This is the other problem I have too, is not making this space wide enough. So I'm really going to try to fix that today. Okay. We've still got a little bit of room over here. So I'm going to do this pelvis real quick. Cool. Just like a cool way to kind of construct that pelvis. I think I have enough room here to even do this guy. But two, again, just in case you're seeing this for maybe the first time. After I kind of like knock in this head shape, this circle, I don't try to then go draw everything, right? I try to just match. You see how like these tilts that we're seeing? I try to just make those happen first before then going on here and kind of locking everything in. Right now, my typical daily warm-up is I'll grab a couple of how to draw books. I'll grab a couple of how to draw books, or not how to draw books, I'm so sorry. I'm like literally thinking and talking at the same time. Is it okay if I just don't talk? I feel like that's going to be kind of boring, but I feel like it might have to happen. Cool. So my typical warm-up though every day is I'll grab a comic, a couple comics maybe, and now I'm gonna do this little guy real quick just to kind of lock in the information, maybe even a little bit bigger. Good. Let's see if we can get that. And this part of the book too is just like the intro, but a part of me just kind of like doesn't really want to leave a stone uncovered, unturned. What's the saying? Stone unturned. That doesn't sound right. Okay. Kind of locked in my construction here. Alright, mostly there. Okay. Let me get an eraser. Just kind of clean it up now so that we can make it look more like this guy. Yeah. Personally, I think I'm going to start. I kind of just jump back to kind of like figure drawing where, you know, you're kind of starting with the part of the body that kind of catches your eye the most. But in this case, I'm just kind of starting with the outline. See, this is the other thing though. I'm trying to remember. I set up a bunch of construction here. So like the thing to do is like still got to match this drawing to my construction that I made. Okay, so let's try to get some of these muscles in here now. So now it's kind of easier just to kind of like throw muscles on. So what's cool is like, oh yeah, I forgot, like I can use that construction that I did here as like a guideline for where these muscles are going. There you go. Okay. Now we're at the upper limb page, so I'll just read it real quick. The upper limb, left to hang down along the body, the hand comes to mid-thigh. The elbow joint is halfway between the top of the shoulder and the end of the back of the hand when it's made into a fist. The shoulder joint can be drawn as a sphere that is visible in front, corresponding to the head of the humerus. The arm itself becomes a simple cylinder. We can give it a slightly oval cut in the front to back direction, given that the muscles are basically distributed with the biceps, number 1, in front of the humerus, and the triceps, number 2, in the back. So, bicep, tricep. We find a bone reference point at the elbow. Where the hell is that at? The elbow's here. The tip of the ulna forms an angle that can be exaggerated in order to reinforce the presence of the bone. The forearm creates a conical shape. Its fleshy muscular masses, the extensors 3 and 4, and the flexors 4, mostly come back together close to the elbow, whereas the tendons complete the shape near the wrist. Because the tendons are not very thick, we reinforce the bony presence at this level by flattening the lower part of this segment. At the connection between the upper arm and the forearm, we have often found it necessary to add a muscular element, the brachioradialis. Let me set another timer here. I'm only going to try to do this for like an hour. Okay. Let me restart. At the connection between the upper arm and the forearm, we have often found it necessary to add a muscular element, the brachioradialis, or long supinator, number 5. Right there. Which allows the twist made possible by the way the joints are in this area and expresses them on the surface. The radius and ulna cross in pronation and across in supination, allowing the rotational movements of the hand. The brachioradialis is inserted on the lower third of the arm and follows the thumb side of the forearm. Thus, when the thumb is brought back to the anterior pronation, the act of grasping, the muscle crosses the forearm diagonally. Conversely, it remains on the outside of the contour when the thumb is turned outward, supination, the act of supporting. So supinate, pronate. On the other side, the ulna, the elbow bone, can be drawn along the length of the forearm as far as the wrist on the side of the little finger. Alright, cool. So that was a lot of information. I'm definitely going to have to come in here and highlight this, but I'm going to start with these three guys here and get them drawn in. I'll say something in a second. Let me just get this guy in here. This is another thing I've been struggling with, is drawing my legs long enough. Okay. I'm going to start over here. Got this clavicle. Take notes, for sure. Belly button's like right there. Okay. So 3 deltoid. This is a tricep. This is I think this is your extensor, and then this is your flexor. I forget. Right? No, this is your flexor. I'm sorry. And then this is your brake. I'm just gonna write brake because it's a long ass word. Okay, let's get this hand in here. I always draw my hands too freaking big. Because, like, there's supposed to be fingers here. Like, this to here is all the fingers. Okay. Then let's get this back going. Cool. I'm going to do these two now. Maybe just a little bit smaller, just so I can fit them all on the same page. This is the part where, like, there's still a part of me that still sees hands and will, like, still, like, freak out and just be like, I don't have to draw those. It's like, yeah, you do. I'm actually not gonna, looks like I'm not gonna have enough room to do it here, but that's okay. So I'm going to do this arm here that I can't fit here. I'm just going to do it here. All right. Still pretty big. So this is a good thing to do. Do like mark a line for like the top of whatever you're trying to draw, and mark a line for the bottom, and then kind of work your way back. I'm going to do that just to get this conal shape in first, so that I'm not just drawing random shapes, because these start as cones, and then you kind of fill them in. Right, see, it's a little bit easier to do. And also, you know, try to fix your mistakes that you're seeing. It's kind of a bad habit of mine, is to just be like, I'll just get it on the next drawing. Just be like, no, I'll just fix it. I'll fix it now. And this should be a little bit bigger. There we go. And then I'm not going to skip the hand. It's going to be a smaller hand just so I'll give myself a little bit more room. But very important, just to draw the shit that you're like kind of afraid to draw, just draw it. I'm not really terrified of hands per se. They're pretty easy once you kind of figure out that they're just like basically what I just kind of did here, where you can kind of turn them into little like cylinders, basically, like the fingers. There we go. Cool. And then, how much time we got? We're at 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna just draw this stuff real quick. Just because I got a lot of stuff to kind of get through today, but this is cool so far. The cool thing to do too, that I'm kind of noticing, is maybe something that might help you, is to record yourself. Record yourself studying. Because it's almost like you have to kind of like process this information in real time. But the thing I think I could maybe even say that could kind of sort of help is to just kind of like see how I'm just kind of blasting through these drawings. Try not to be too precious, because I mean this is just the beginning, right? We're going to be redrawing a lot of this stuff, because this book is put in sections, which is pretty cool. Like it's like the upper limbs, the bottom limbs. So, you know, just kind of get through it. You know, you can always go back and redraw things from this book. draw this a little bit taller. See, it's already good, right? Like, blast through this stuff, but you know, I guess don't be afraid to fix a mistake too, because I was about to make this way too short. Cool. 2, 1, 5, 3, and 4. So let's just go ahead and name these real quick. So again, you get your bicep, tricep, right? 3 is your extensors. 4 is your flexor. And then 5 is that brachioradialis, the thing that is destroying my life. Mine hurts all the time. And again, right, like, these drawings don't have to be perfect, right? Because, you know, I think the point of studying from how to draw books isn't necessarily the style. It's just like the knowledge, right? So I think that's kind of like a little bit of a tougher thing to kind of like keep harping on, but it's something that I definitely have to kind of remember. Because normally my study sessions, every day I pretty much study if I can, but they're normally just me grabbing some comics or an artist that I really like from my library that I have at home, and then I'll just kind of go through and sketch what they're doing. But again, right, like, I think that's kind of like the combination of things you have to kind of do when you want to learn comic drawing or illustration drawing, is like try to make it a little bit of both, where, you know, you're not just studying from how to draw books, because then you might start just kind of drawing like this, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, which may or may not be like the worst thing, but where you might get bored if all you're doing is just drawing from how to draw books. You might find yourself getting bored with that, right? But if you can kind of mix that study session up with people that you're actually into, it kind of makes it a little bit easier to kind of keep studying or keep some form of study practice going. So this is the last page I'm going to do, because we're almost at an hour, but I'll just read it real quick. This is kind of like a quick breakdown on hands. The hand, as with the foot, requires more focused attention. The most useful proportions for the hand are easy to remember. The back of the hand, measured from the end of the ulna, the small bony ball on your wrist on the side of the little finger, is as long as the longest finger. Wow. The first phalange of each finger, except for the thumb, is equal to the length of the other two phalanges put together. The wrist is followed by the bones of the hand, each ending in a curved or arced shape. It is not important to distinguish the individual bones here. At the end of these arcs, at the end of a fist, 4 fingers begin. Each finger is made up of 3 phalanges, drawn as simplified small cylinders. The last item is the thumb. This opposable digit does not align along the same plane as the fingers. It starts from the wrist on the inside of the hand. The thumb too is drawn using 3 cylinders, even though it only has 2 phalanges. This is because the thumb's metacarpal M1 is distinct and is much more mobile than those of the fingers. Okay, which are all connected together on the same plane along the back of the hand. Finally, we add a fleshy volume. We add a few fleshy volumes, both muscular and fatty, on the palm of the hand. That's a lot. So we'll just bang out these drawings real quick, and then we'll be back. I'll post this tonight, and then we'll be back the next day. Hands are tough. Hands are tough, but you gotta spend time doing them. The thing that kind of got me being able to draw hands more was just to copy someone else's hands. Copy someone else's hands, or you can find those hand things on Pinterest, where someone will just do a bunch of hand poses. Find a bunch of those to kind of draw from. That's helpful. The problem with hands, right, isn't the fact that, I mean, they are tough. Even AI can't get hands right? That's how tough it is to draw hands. But I think the thing that kind of makes us a little bit lazy about wanting to draw hands is that you can always kind of take a picture, you know what I mean? Like, you can just be like, oh, okay, like, let me just take a picture of what my hand is doing, right? Instead of actually learning how to draw the hand. But what you get, right, and the thing that kind of made me be like, okay, I really need to sit here and like learn how to draw hands, was that when you are always referencing from a picture for your hands, they look very posed, they look inaccurate, because you're making your hand kind of, you're just always drawing from, you know, a reference or whatever of a hand or a picture of a hand. Like, you kind of gotta really lock in that information, and it's tough, you know. It takes just like a lot of studying, but I would say if you're struggling with hands, like, try to start with like Disney hands. You know, there's a lot of really cool breakdowns on the internet of people that'll like just take still shots of famous Disney movies and just like the hand gestures. I think the guy's name was like Milt something, but he was kind of known as like the best out of the 8 old men or whatever that could draw like hands, kind of like the most expressive hands. Or my favorite guy to kind of practice from a lot is Alain Dodier. Dodier, I think it's Dodier. How you say it in French? Dodier. He draws hands kind of similar to that Disney style of drawing hands. But I would just say pick your favorite artists and just, you know, maybe once or twice a week, go through and just kind of redraw some of their hands. There's nothing wrong with that. Jack Kirby was like, I stole my hands. Everyone thinks I have these highly original hands. He's like, I stole all my hands from Milt Caniff. So I don't know what the hell that, and that means he was, you know, studying Milt Caniff to get that famous Jack Kirby hand, you know. So don't be afraid to look at your influences, but more so these days for me, I'm kind of trying to balance that out a little bit more, just because I do spend a lot of time studying other artists, and that is really good, but there's some times where you're just like, okay, like there's holes in my in my drawings that aren't being fixed by me studying such and such, or me looking at such and such, you know. So sometimes you gotta just actually study, you know. You gotta do like the boring kind of study where you're kind of doing stuff like this, but try not to think of it as boring, you know. Try to make it like a challenge. Like for me, the challenge is gonna be to do this every day for the next 5 days, you know. And I don't think I'm gonna get through the entire book in that time, but I'll come. I have to leave anyway. I have to go. I'm going to see a friend, but when I come back, I'll finish up the book the same way. I'll just do Monday through Friday, an hour. And I would say too, man, you know, pick a book that's kind of simple. Like try to find like, you know, those Chris Hart books. Ain't nothing wrong with those, like, you know, how to draw anime the whatever way. But actually, you know, I don't know. Those are kind of tough because they do kind of teach you. They definitely teach you construction habits and stuff. So I don't know. Just find a book that looks fun, and if you can get some friends involved in it too, like especially for anyone that's like kind of younger, like really try to do that. Try to grab a homie or two to kind of go into the study session with you. It's harder as an adult. And a lot of my friends are kind of like we're all pretty much professionals, so it's kind of harder to get those guys to want to do a study session because they're just like, what are you trying to say, you know? I feel like they're saying that without me, you know what I mean? They're just like, oh, you know, I'm too busy, but that sounds really cool. But I feel like it's more so just like nobody who's like published, like we're all published and stuff, and like nobody kind of probably wants to admit that they have holes in their. All right, and that is my time, right as I'm finishing this drawing of this hand. Cool. So we got here. So I'm gonna put a mark here, and we will pick up on the lower limb tomorrow. Real quick, just to kind of go back through the drawings that we did today. So these are all just from the intro. You know, just some kind of pretty quick drawings. Just kind of banged them out. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of internalized some stuff here, so pretty cool. All right, see you guys next time, next day.